Welcome back to the Vandy Sports Podcast. I'm Joey Dwyer here after Vanderbilt's 77-68 loss at the hands of Tennessee. It's Vanderbilt's 11th straight loss against Tennessee and their 16th straight loss against a ranked opponent on the road. Night of streaks and another night of Vanderbilt being right there, just not being able to throw the punch that gets them back in the game late. They looked like they belonged with Tennessee for a good amount of this game and just couldn't find a way back in it at the end. Scoring droughts doomed them. Long Tennessee runs doomed them. Slow starts to both halves doomed Vanderbilt. And just kind of a night that looks a lot like a lot of the other nights Vanderbilt's had. Like the St. Mary's game where they looked like they belonged with them for a few minutes but fell short. Maybe Memphis where they were in it but couldn't throw a punch back to get back in the game. Maybe a game like they just had against Mizzou where they looked like they belonged for almost that whole game. But Jerry Stackhouse says still that his team is still learning how to win, and asked him about that tonight, how exactly that works, and he just says you have to do it by winning, and they didn't do that tonight. It certainly helps to play in an environment like this to have the positive signs you had from Noah Shelby and Lee Dort, and obviously Robbins had a big night, but you got to find a way to win at some point in this league. So close, and moral victories are not good enough in this league, and especially this time of year in January. You can't just be showing positive signs. You have to have positives in the win column, and Vanderbilt hasn't had that much to this point. They're 1-2 in the league with a win over South Carolina. Have the 2 losses in a row, and things aren't getting easier over the next few weeks. They see Arkansas on Saturday, and then on Wednesday or Tuesday next week, they play Alabama. So things certainly won't get easy. They go to Georgia to play on the road against a team that is probably in the same wheelhouse as them, and they're going on the road to do it. Then they see Kentucky, who lost to South Carolina tonight, but certainly has more talent than Vanderbilt does at this point in the season. And you think that Vanderbilt just didn't shoot the 3-ball well enough to get even in this game. That's the great equalizer. Tennessee really shut that down at times, although Vanderbilt did hit a few and shot them at a decent clip. Robbins was really the go-to guy for Vanderbilt tonight, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but Vanderbilt just didn't get enough otherwise. They got some great contributions from Lee Dort. Robbins said that Lee Dort didn't look like a freshman tonight, and you'd have to agree with him there. Looked poised on that post-up that happened right about there. Had that transition dunk, had a block. Just shows what Vanderbilt and the staff likes about him in general. Noah Shelby also, man, is he confident in his shot, and it paid off for him in the first half tonight. Hit a few first half threes, had 12 points. In the second half was kind of shut down, but man, does he want to let it fly every time he touches it? I'm starting to think so. And Shelby was all right tonight. I think he definitely showed some of the positive signs too. Stack in the offseason said he was one of the better shooters in the high school class, and you kind of see that tonight. He's hitting shots off different platforms with guys in his face from different ranges. He's not just a one-trick pony from beyond the arc. The question is whether he's going to be able to develop more as a total package, and we'll see about that in the future years. Paul Lewis and Malik Dia didn't play, but Dort showed some real positive signs, and Noah Shelby also did as well. Maybe those guys aren't 5-star guys who are going to go one and done or anything like that, but you love to see positive signs out of them against the number 5 team in the country in an environment like this, in a stadium that was largely crowded for most of this game, and a tough environment for Vanderbilt to play in. They've had 2 in a row though, so going back to Memorial Gymnasium will certainly be good for them. However, at Memorial Gymnasium, they haven't played as well as it seems like they have on the road. They seem like they get up for these games more. It's going to tell you a lot about where this team is with how they come out a few nights from now against Arkansas. I guess that's the afternoon, but that's a good team they're playing again, and they have to go get that one if they want anything to be on their resume as they head towards their goal of postseason play. Like Jerry Stackhouse said, we're in year 4. Moral victories don't count anymore. Positive signs are great. They're not inherently bad, but at some point those positive signs have to be turned into wins, and that didn't happen tonight for Vanderbilt. They're going to keep plugging in this stretch where they have tough teams night in and night out, and you love to see those positive signs from Vanderbilt, just the way they've defended, the way their offense has started to get flowing, the positives from the freshmen. Robbins really emerging. Jordan Wright is starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm, it seems, although he had a tough day at Mizzou a little bit, but it seems like this Vanderbilt team is starting to kind of get their footing. Now it just needs to translate into wins, and Stackhouse agrees with that, it seems like, based on that quote. But a lot to like from this Vanderbilt team tonight, but we've had a lot of nights like those, and like I said, it's got to start turning into wins. I wanted to talk about Robbins as well. I like to call him the safety blanket. I think he's a team guy and didn't want to say that about himself, but that's a guy who really got Vanderbilt out of that rut offensively to start the game. They were down 7-0. It looked like they didn't have anything offensively. Tyron Lawrence went in the lane a few times, got blocked, and Tennessee had 3 blocks before Robbins even got in the game, but Robbins comes in the game, makes a few plays at the rim, gets to the line 12 times tonight, shoots 12 for 10, 18 points, and that's the guy Vanderbilt needs to go to. That was the igniter for their offense tonight, and the reason that they were in this game early and the reason they were able to come back and take that lead at halftime. That lead at halftime is just another positive sign that can show you really what they can do. They didn't get much from Tyron Lawrence tonight. I don't think Miles Studi scored. Maybe he had 2 points, but they just didn't get a lot from a lot of their best guys, and they still led at halftime. So it shows you there's probably something in there. This is a really good Tennessee team. As you saw early on in the game with Tyron Lawrence, they swallow you at the rim. They make you either put it in the post, which is difficult because of their depth in the front court. That on the offensive end for Tennessee, put Liam Robbins and Quinn Malloy-Brown in foul trouble, which is why Dwyer had to go in the game. At any point, that actually might have turned into a good thing for Vanderbilt. Dwyer had the highest plus-minus out of any of the 3 centers. It actually showed a bunch of positive signs, maybe one of the more positive things tonight. But a lot to like if you're Vanderbilt tonight. But again, just not enough in the end. And Tennessee's a team that will do that to you. They beat South Carolina by 40 points. And you're glad that you're not having this conversation or that conversation tonight. But also, how great would it be if they came out with a win like it looked like maybe they would in the first half. Ultimately, you kind of knew, hey, this Tennessee team is really, really good. They're probably going to beat Vanderbilt. But it looked like Vanderbilt had plenty of positive signs and found ways to keep themselves in this one. It seemed like they were a few threes away and a few rebounds away, a few forced turnovers away. I actually think they won the turnover battle tonight, so shout out to them because I had been banging that drum all season. But I would think that if you're looking at this game objectively, obviously not happy with the loss, but you like to see what you saw out of the 2 freshmen, the high schoolers, or the guys who went to high school together, obviously. And you also like what you saw in the front court with Liam Robbins. You like that run that Jerry Stackhouse mentioned when Jordan Wright kind of got going in the second half, although the shooting percentage is still a bit low for him. Things just seem to be clicking a little more for this Vanderbilt team, and this is not the team you want to see when you're trying to get things to click. 6 for 27 from the 3-point line. I actually didn't have my stat broadcast up. It's on the Jumbotron up there, so I cheated a little bit. But you got to shoot it better than that if you're Vanderbilt. The free throws are certainly a positive sign. 12 offensive rebounds is a positive sign. They don't have the turnovers listed up there, but the turnovers seem to be a lot lower. They seem to be taking care of the ball against one of the best defensive teams in the country. Ken Palm's #1 defensive team in the country. So a lot of good things to note from tonight, but 6 for 27 from 3-point range in this arena at this time of year against this team is not going to do it. And Vanderbilt was right there again. And that was the story of the night. I keep repeating it, but scoring droughts did them in. Big Tennessee runs that resulted from those scoring droughts did them in. The environment was huge. They got behind Tennessee when those scoring droughts were happening, made it hard on Vanderbilt to get going, and just propelled Tennessee to more of those runs. So a big night for Tennessee, and a night that you like in some aspects for Vanderbilt, but also don't like in some aspects. I think tonight you feel a lot better about the future of the program, just with that freshman class with Noah Shelby and Lee Dort. Shelby is really coming into his own confidence-wise. He actually got some second-half minutes, which we hadn't seen a whole lot throughout the year. Lee Dort didn't get in the second half, but still had his career high with points. Like I said, looked poised, showed off that athleticism, and he looked the part with some of those big Tennessee centers, Kamwa, Plotvich, a lot of guys who are able to do a lot of things to challenge freshmen. Dort made some plays down the stretch and certainly showed some encouraging signs, as did most of the Vanderbilt team tonight. Going forward, you'd think that Vanderbilt obviously needs to shoot the 3 better, but when you think about the 3-point shooting, there's more to it. It's that they have to get their feet in the paint more, kick it out, stack. It's like a broken record with that, but he's absolutely correct. Ezra Monio's got to get his feet in the paint and kick it out for open looks. What was really telling to me is that they weren't able to get Miles Studi open looks. Some teams game plan against him. I don't know how much Tennessee was doing that. I probably should have paid attention to that a little bit more, but Miles Studi is far and away their best 3-point shooter, and they weren't able to get him open looks consistently from beyond the arc. I think that says something about kind of their creation. They turned it over more times than they had assists, I think, at least right before garbage time when I packed up. They had, I think, six assists, tongue twister, and 7 turnovers. 6 assists is really good for one player. For a team that's playing against Tennessee, it can't be that. And Vanderbilt just did enough things well tonight to keep them in it and allow them to throw a punch, but they didn't do enough things and didn't get enough momentum against this huge crowd to really throw that punch to get back in the game and have a chance. With a few minutes to go, another night just close, not close enough for Vanderbilt, and those streaks continue. It's been almost 2,000 days since they beat Tennessee, and there's certainly a one-sided feel to this in-state rivalry at the moment, and Vanderbilt has to get back on the other side of that. So solid night for Vanderbilt. Certainly could have been better. We could have been talking to a Jerry Stackhouse in a much better mood, although he's pretty good tonight. Robbins as well. Just so much on the table for Vanderbilt left. You wonder, does this translate into wins at any point? His team's still learning how to win, and we're going to see in the coming weeks. They're going to play ranked teams. They're going to play teams that they have chances of beating, teams that haven't played well lately. It's all on the table for them. It's going to have to happen fast, though, if they want to go to the postseason, and that's clear. I think Stackhouse knows that. I think the team knows that, and at some point, it's got to translate to wins if they want to get to where they want to go and they want to have the outlook this season that they want to. So that's it. I'm Joey Dwyer here from Thompson Bowling. My first time here, crazy venue. We were right on the floor almost as media, so thanks for everybody allowing that to happen. Your support of Vandy Sports. If you don't mind, continue to do that. Read my game story tonight. Read some of Chris's work about football and his previous game stories. And I interviewed Karis Bilal, Vanderbilt commit in 2024 a few days ago, about Vanderbilt, and we'll tweet that article out tomorrow, but it's up on the site now. So read our work if you don't mind. It really helps us. And thank you for watching. God bless, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. Peace.